people in the front are just like not caring about who's behind them, sitting there talking to the guys, doing the whole thing. I'm like, all right, this is just one example. No way this could be true for everything. I get to the airport early. Bro, I'm at the airport in San Francisco. It's a ghost town. I have a video. There's no one there. I think I'm in the pre-check. We were talking about how good pre-check was. I'm in the pre-check line. There's 3 people in the pre-check line. In the regular line, there's no one in the regular line. I think I would have been better off going through that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm waiting, and then the guy in front of me, you know, nothing bad about him. He's just like, I have a pacemaker, so I'm waiting for this guy, and he's taking his time with the pacemaker, going through the machine. I'm like, bro, like, these people don't have, like, any sense of urgency. Meanwhile, I'm, like, 3 hours early to the airport.
You are a Northeasterner. Oh, my God.
Like,
East Coast mentality.
Bro, like, I'm just, like, trying to get through, and everyone's taking their time.
To this, by the way.
Yeah, and I look it up, and that's a thing. That's like a real thing. Like, it's often described. People on the West Coast like to have, you know, more of a lounge thing. And I'm like,
I don't know if it's stereotyping, but yeah, there's probably a little bit to it. I do know that kind of shit drives me crazy too, because there's like no appreciation for, you know, others, and you know, I don't think people do it intentionally, but I'm like, man, come on, hurry up.
I know.
Come on, man.
It really just made me pressed when I'm like at this UPS and they're like having a full conversation about like, life. Oh, if you should get a life, or maybe I should open up a P.O. box in my business's name. And I'm like, lady, like if you want to talk about that, that's fine, but let me send my package out of here.
That's fabulous. I love it.
And yeah, there's a lot of dead plants on the West Coast. I noticed too. Like you go there, and like there's hills, like how we would have hills with trees.
Well, when you say West Coast, you landed in San Francisco and then drove out to Sacramento, right?
A little bit south of Sacramento.
Okay.
So it's basically Sacramento. So
yeah.
I'm like pretty far west.
What people don't realize, as soon as you get, I don't even know the official, but like as soon as you drive past Oakland, you're in the desert officially.
That's what I'm in.
Even though the desert, like Reno is desert, right?
Yeah.
But it snows and it's cold. But you know, from a precipitation perspective, that's the desert, right?
That's my surroundings.
Yeah, you're in the desert.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not what people think. It's not Death Valley.
Yeah.
But like when you're out that way, when you're in the Central Valley or the central area of that's the desert.
You know, I'm out there.
So when you say
stuff's
stuff's dead, that's the desert. It's not what people think. I mean, it took me a while too, because I would land in Reno and, you know, it'd be 32 degrees and there'd be snow and they'd be going, yeah, this is the desert. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, well, it's super arid, right? It's you know, dry. There's no humidity.
Yeah.
Because it's the desert, right? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and then so that's why when you sit there and go, it's not dead. That's just
how it is.
And scrub and
yeah, that's exactly what it was, man. They had like cows on the mountains and stuff, eating up the vegetation and stuff. You get pretty out there.
Because I mean, you're telling everybody you're in San Francisco, and you're really not. You landed in San Francisco.
I landed in San Francisco. I drove around San Francisco a little bit. I saw like the Golden Gate Bridge. I didn't want to go too close to it, just because I was like, the traffic over there is probably ridiculous. Like, all right, this is a West Coast thing, because I know I was out in Seattle and they had the same thing. They have the traffic to a T out there, and it's because they have like a pay-to-win system where the left lane's like a fast track lane, so you're flying. You have to pay like $3 or whatever it is. And people on the far left, it's like, I call it pay-to-win. You could just go in the left lane and you're kind of cruising along. There's like cameras taking pictures of your license.
Yeah, that's a new thing, because I mean they do it. 95 has it or down by Baltimore and DC, where
like a fast thing.
They have the fast lane,
the HOV lane.
It's not an HOV lane. It's actually it's like you said. It's a pay-to-play lane.
Yeah.
And the price is adjusted based on the amount of traffic.
Oh.
So if it's in the middle of the night, you can get in that lane for like $1 and just blast down, right?
But then during the day, it's like $5.
But during the day, during rush hour, it literally could be $16 to get into that lane.
Oh man.
And sure, there's a shit ton of people in there because, you know, either they have more money than God, or it's an expense account. No one cares, right?
Yeah.
But that sounds like what you're talking about there. I haven't been out to California in a while, but
that's exactly right. I mean, they had it in Seattle, and like when you're going in,
just another way to tax you and get your money.
Hey man, listen. The worst part is
fixing the goddamn problem, right? Figuring some way to meter the traffic.
Well,
let's just charge you.
It's crazy though, because like I agree. Like, what can you do to fix there's 5 lanes. You know what I mean? Like 5 lanes, not including that extra 6 lane. That's the fast one. So I see that, I'm like, geez, man, like, they got that part of it figured out. I was going to say one other thing. Oh, San Francisco. This is San Francisco because when I first land there and then you take an Airbus.
So you drove downtown? Or
not downtown. Where was I at? I was...
Because you said you were by the Golden Gate. I mean, it's...
I was one bridge over from the Golden Gate. I could see the Golden Gate. I forget what it was.
So you're on the Bay Bridge or whatever.
When you're driving across
yeah.
So I was... renting my car, and the first thing the person running the car thing said, and I watched YouTube videos, so I kind of had an understanding. They said, put all your luggage in the trunk.
Absolutely.
And don't leave any of your stuff.
Do not leave anything visible.
Yeah. They're like, we have a bad problem with break-ins. So right then, I bought the insurance policies and everything, and they're like, we have a terrible problem with this. Now, granted, the part that I was in was a little bit, like you said, like 45 minutes away from San Francisco, but... You know, they have a big problem out there with that. It's bad enough to where the people renting the cars are like, hey, like, like not to do it. So
I mean, you hear all those stories. I mean, we've had people at work who live out there and should know better, and they basically, you know, and sometimes you run a car that doesn't have a trunk.
Oh,
that might have been what they ended up getting like one of those SUVs or whatever, and they stopped to get some food, and boom, you know,
that quick,
shattered and stole all their computer bags and stuff like that. And it's, you know, and they're Californians, they're not Californians, but they West Coast. I mean, they should know better. But yeah, I mean,
it's just
I've heard a lot of horror stories about that. I can only imagine how bad it is. Well, you see it all over the news. I mean, I shouldn't say you see it over the news. You see it all over social media. Right?
No longer legacy media.
That's what I mean. We talked before you were gone to go, man. That used to be. I can't tell you how great of a city San Francisco used to be.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's been years since I've been out there, so I'm only going by perception of what I see. But I'm like,
he's going by Full House right now.
Not even that. I mean, the last time I was out there were like naked dudes walking on the beach, taking craps and stuff like that, which is just ridiculous, right? And it was really bad. But
that's wild.
But I mean, it is absolutely a fabulous city.
Yeah, I bet.
Such a shame.
It's a cool little town. They also have, it's like not known for like its industrial. It's called like the industrial city, I believe it's called.
San Francisco.
I don't know. It was like a big thing in the mountain. It said industrial city. Maybe that's one part of it. I could see it from the airport, but nonetheless, like
that's the area. That's the area south of the city. So
is it
where the airport is? I don't even know if that airport is officially in San Francisco. I think it's. It's down. It's halfway between
like
kind of San Jose and Silicon Valley. Well, all that area where the airport is. I'm trying to think. It's been so long since I've been out there, but it's probably San Francisco proper, but it's many miles out of the downtown area.
Yeah. The downtown area was a little bit. It's kind of like Philly. Philly airport.
Similar.
Because Philly's it's Philly, but I think it's like closer to Chester than I would say Philly.
Yeah. So you're right, and
you know what I mean. So that's the same deal. But yeah, man, it was cool. I'm going to Kansas City next week, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know if Kansas City's known for anything.
Kansas City.
Besides their football team,
a few times. Like Kansas City, you want to find the barbecue, right? And there's a bunch of choices there, and it actually is typically very good if you find one of the better ones. But it's a very I don't want to put any city down. I mean, it's
Missouri.
I mean, there's just nothing really. There's no standout that I can think of.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe I could catch like a football game, but I'm going on a Monday and. Monday Night Football for Kansas City.
That's a hard ticket to get, too.
It's the following week, so I was like, got crapped out there. Have you ever done that? Like, have you ever caught a sports game on a thing? I was thinking about that.
I mean, I've been to sporting games, from an event perspective, but I mean, like if I'm by myself, get a ticket to it. No, that's not my thing.
Yeah, I would like to do maybe like a baseball game or something that's like. I feel like football is a little bit more like you have to pay like an arm and a leg to go see baseball.
Yeah,
sure. You're like
baseball, you can get in,
like 50
almost
bucks,
every stadium you could just show up and typically buy a ticket. It's usually nosebleed, then you just kind of move yourself down or whatever. But
fair enough, yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
But yeah, no, I never. I mean, there's like people that I know that like make it a point to try and visit every stadium and every town they travel to, and I don't know. I never had that motivation, so.
It's one of those things where I'm not going to actively seek it, but if it's like you hear like the talk of the town, like, oh, did you
You know what it is because I think a part of it, like if I was staying at a hotel that was walking distance to a ballpark, I would probably do it.
Yeah.
Like Pittsburgh, I could think of that. But I mean, typically on a game day, right, you're not staying anywhere near it because it's too expensive. And it's such a hassle to like drive, park. And parking is like $80 for a game day, right?
Yeah, sure.
So the next thing you know, that game you just want to go check out is like $1 gazillion.
Yeah, and it's coming out of your account.
You can't even do Uber, right? Because Uber's got flex rates, and you want to go to the baseball game? Forget it. That's
$30 extra.
Like, it's accelerated rates. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think if you ask me, people who kind of go to sporting events these days, like live events. It's a good dedication because it's so much easier to watch it on TV. I mean,
you can at least follow what's going on.
And when it's over, guess what, man? You're off and running, right? You don't have to worry about getting out and you were explaining your Sebastian Maniscalco thing. What the hell's the title?
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go into that again.
No, you don't have to. But I'm just saying. I mean, parking at the very end of the lot, so you can make the quick exit, and
yeah.
That's the kind of shit that you're like, it's such a pain.
And then everyone's so irritable. Like you could tell, like people don't care. They just start driving, whether they hit your car or not. Like these people just start driving, and I'm like, I'm not moving. So if you hit the car, like it's
on you.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, I'm like, after such a good event, man. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. I wanted to transition though because there was some stuff that came out over the past couple weeks, more so like. Not politically, but like
God,
Elon Musk with the not with Trump, with his robots and stuff like that, and his self-driving taxi
and stuff like that.
We'll see what happens with
that. I kind of went over like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in part because there's really not a lot new there. The robot was kind of interesting, but they said it was all I don't want to say artificial because it's obviously artificial. It was artificial in the sense that the robot was actually being controlled behind the scenes.
Like by like a guy or something?
Yeah, it wasn't automated, or it's not to the point where it's automated. And, look, Elon has this history of announcing shit years before it actually comes to market. I
mean, i.e. the Roadster and the Semi and a number of things,
I don't know. Generally speaking, though, it was kind of a yawn fest. As a Tesla guy, I was sort of like, okay, the taxi, okay, makes sense. I mean, it's no different than what the hell Uber and some of these other ones have been doing. Yeah. And then the van was, okay, the van is the van. And the robot was like, that's interesting. Well, how the hell would I use it, right?
Yeah. It was funny. They were like announcing it, and it was like we're going to have these robots for like household needs or whatever for like under 30 grand.
It's funny. All the guys are like, oh, so you mean my wife can yell at the robot? Awesome.
Yeah.
I can go back out to my garage and just hang out with the buddies and drink beer while the wife nags the robot. Awesome.
I know, but I wonder what the capabilities of that thing's going to be.
I know you listen to this podcast. You're one of our few listeners, so.
She's gonna do some shit for that.
She hangs in this long because this is like 40 minutes in. So
what was I gonna say? I'm curious to see how it all kind of shakes down, though. I don't know what its capabilities are gonna be.
It's crazy though that it's even like we're at the point where it's like that close to reality.
Yeah,
I mean, even if it's a year or two out, holy shit, it's a freaking robot.
I know. Well,
like a legit self-thinking robot.
Well, it's crazy. Like iRobot, like with Will Smith. It's getting close to that. Exactly like getting kind of close to that, man. So except with a big Tesla branding on the chest plate. So I don't know.
So it's funny we bring up Tesla because I am. I don't know what the me and cars. It's a disease. For some reason, I am jonesing to get a CyberTruck now. I didn't like it at first. I know.
Bro, the CyberTruck's awesome.
That's even he was like, "What the hell are you doing?" You said you hated it. I said, "You know what? I wasn't a fan when I saw it on, you see it on the internet, and I think it's the stupidest freaking thing I've ever seen, right? And I've seen a couple in parking lots, and I was like, yeah, I don't really get it. But what it was is I stopped at the Tesla dealer in Pittsburgh because I was trying to get something for my car, and they had 3 of them there, and I was like looking, and I'm like,
they're pretty cool.
I'm like, this thing's actually kind of cool.
See, I don't know. I gotta take credit. Listen, I was one of the few people that was rocking with the Tesla Cybertruck from the beginning. Even my girlfriend, like every time I see one out in public, I'm like, dang, look at that. She's like, it looks so ugly. From the beginning, I've been defending the Cybertruck.
Yeah,
but and then there's some wraps too. You could see like people do like the all black or the all white or whatever. And there's quite a bit of those in like Exton. You'll see them going around. I think because there's a dealership not too far away, if I'm not mistaken, like Devon.
Yeah,
but
that's where. So they're actually they're doing demo drives. So
yeah,
I was like, I got to go take a demo drive on the CyberTruck. So I might do that soon.
Yeah, I'll tag along if you want. If you're doing it, depends on how soon. But
yeah. Well, so then of course I start looking and I'm like, oh my god, like.
Because they're $80,000, right?
Well, no. So they only had the Foundation series until I think literally today. They just changed it online. So the Foundation series was $110,000.
Yeah.
And today you can go online and you can now order the $80,000 all-wheel drive one.
Yeah, they're a month out, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, you can pretty much get it right away. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, even that, like $80,000.
Paying probably,
and it's like they have it, like financing it. It's like, okay, 4% down, so you got to put $4,000 down, and 6% interest. Blah, 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 blah. It's like it's $1,300 a month. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, I'm like, who the hell is driving all these freaking cars?
Would you trade in yours because yours is?
Yeah, absolutely, I would have to, but I can't. So I mean,
that's my next question.
I have. So here's the thing. I have the Tesla and I have the Jeep, right? And I in theory could probably I'm sort of like the devil. So Ida doesn't want to get rid of the Jeep, but I could very easily con her into it and trade the Jeep in and then give her my Tesla and whatever, something. I mean, I could do the car shuffle if I really wanted to do it because I have this gift of persuasion.
Yeah. This guy's
but
a convict.
I can't trade the Tesla in. It just is never going to happen because it's so far underwater. It's insane. Right. Like we've had this conversation about how bad it is. And that hasn't changed, right?
What
it's literally $10,000 underwater.
What's your Tesla go for now? If you were to sell it?
So mine is the long range
Model 3.
And I want to say that the price hasn't. It's still. I want to say it's still $50,000 if you were to buy a new one.
Is it a 23 or 24?
Mine's a 23. The 24s and 25s are out now. You're paying like 50 something for it, but you get the $7,500 off, so it's down to like $40,000,
which is good for a car.
And again, the resale value is tanked because of the Hertz thing, which we talked about before. And so I'm like, okay, and so I'm like, all right, maybe I'll just trade the Jeep in, right? Because the Jeep's got to have some equity in it, and of course I go and look, and it's electric, so it's immediately fucked. Every electric vehicle is just completely tanked in value.
Wow.
So I could probably trade the Jeep in and maybe break even if I'm lucky on what I owe with it right now. And the thing about the Jeep is they just recalled it because it potentially can catch on fire and explode. All right. And I'm like, oh, this is lovely because the batteries and
oh my God.
These lithium batteries. So they literally go, don't charge it and don't park it anywhere near your house. That's why it's on the grass right now. Right. I'm like, the electrics suck, right? So here I am.
I was wondering why I was parked in the front door.
So here I am talking about like, oh, I want to get a Tesla Cybertruck, and I'm pissing and moaning about resale values on electrics, and it's a nightmare. But I'm the guy who, man, if I had money, I would be dangerous when it comes to cars. I would absolutely, because that's that's my thing. But
no, I definitely get you, man. I look at cars all the time.
It's funny, like, so I'm itching to do something social media wise on the automobile side, right? We talked about it, and originally the plan was to do it with the Hummer, and that just fucking shit showed out, right? So
if you get a Cybertruck, that's a good,
Well, it was funny because he's like, "Why don't you get a Hummer?" I go, "I will never, ever, 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 ever buy another fucking General Motors product ever, right? Good. Ever, fuck you." Anyway, so that's a whole, look, go back a bunch of episodes if you need to know about that freaking fiasco, right? But I'm not ever buying a General Motors product ever, right? So
I respect your dedication with that, though.
I respect my dedication too, but the day will come where I'll buy a General Motors product.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I'll buy a Corvette 01 or something like that. But anyway, if I do it, it'll be used, so General Motors doesn't get the equity for it. So fuck them. Now we have to adult rate this podcast. Okay. But anyway, so I have this bug on my ass about getting a Cybertruck. But I'm thinking, I want to do something on social media with something, right? Mm-hmm. Just to kind of preoccupy me and expand on the podcast and do some stuff. So today I was like, I should get like, I shouldn't say because then everybody will rush out and grab my domain name. But I was like, I should do like old dude Ducati and then just do a bunch of motorcycle videos. And it was funny. Insta360 just sent an email to me saying, hey, we're looking to recruit a bunch of motorcycle vlogs and blogs and stuff like that. If you want to sign up, here's the application. And of course, the application's like, what's your website? How many followers do you have? And I'm like, yeah, gee, none, and none. So I guess that means that my chances are none, right? Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh, I should just like start, doing a land grab on domains and like do an old dude's motorcycle thing. And I'm like, I don't know. But
that'd be cool. Would you wrap the Ducati?
No. No way. I wouldn't wrap shit.
What about the CyberTruck?
No.
What? Dude, think about a butterfly on the side of it?
No, you mean like that, right?
Yeah.
Branding. Yeah, maybe.
That'd be sick.
That's easy to do, though. You could just like get a magnetic decal and just slap it on the side.
No, you gotta get like a vinyl, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, but yeah. So I'm like chomping at the bit to do something. It's all talk in my head because you know how time consuming that shit could get, like editing videos and trying to keep up with that.
Yeah, no.
But I'm like, man, I got to do something. And
I got back into video editing, man. It's a timely process, especially if it's like more like an intricate one, like doing transitions and all that gadgets and gizmos. But I would say do it. I mean, if you're itching to get a new car, I mean, it just makes, or the Ducati stuff, sure, why not? I don't know. I look at cars too. I think I was looking at like, obviously we talked about like the BMWs, but there was like the Cadillac Blackwing, the CT5 Blackwing, which is a nice car. There's a couple used ones for like 45, 50. You know what I mean? Cheap. Which is not bad. Then you like hear it sounds so good, and then there's the another practical car I was looking at. Practical is the Lexus IS. Is it 500 or 350?
I know what you're talking about.
They're like they look like my Honda, but they're more.
It's a Lexus.
It's a Lexus. It's it's an upgraded Toyota, man.
I don't care. It's the Lexus.
But they're
you lost me at the Japanese anything. So I mean,
Japanese anything?
Well, that's not really true. I would love an Lexus LFA. Right? Is that the one that was
the 2-door one?
Like $1 million now?
Oh, I don't know. There's like a 2-door sports one that's like kind of like the IS, but it's like a.
This is an older one, so I mean, no. NSX would be cool too. But I mean, yeah, Japanese cars generally aren't my thing. So.
Then the classic. If I could have a something right now, I'd love like a TRX.
Yeah, well, you're too busy spending money on coffee businesses and shit. So
I know, gonna have to cough up some serious dough here. Between that and the camera, I'm trying to think of like
the camera.
Yeah,
what the hell kind of camera are you talking about? Aren't you just gonna get an entry level like DSLR, right? I mean,
no, it's a Sony.
So I mean, you're not looking at like what is the A7 or something like that?
The A7 III. It's like, bro, for the body.
That's like.
Well, how would you think it is?
An A7's
the body's
like $1,500, right?
And then the lens.
The lens is, I mean, again, depending on what you're going on, you're probably another $500-600.
It's $1,000 for the lens. So you're about like $2,2500-$3,000 in just for the camera.
You know what you do? Check B&H. They have a used department.
I was looking at
B&H Photo, right?
MPB. It was like a 3-letter word, but they have like a bunch of used stuff. They're out of New York.
Yeah, well, I mean, check B&H because they have a used category or like a whole, and they have a lot of used gear, and they condition rate it, and they obviously they know their business, so the prices aren't super crazy great, but you can sometimes get a lightly used one pretty decent price.
Yeah, like a low shutter speed is like one of the things you have to go for. Yeah, I'm looking around. Because like the reason I say it is like, dude, I do so many applications with cameras between the podcast, the clothing stuff, and then like all my friends who do like their music video stuff. I'm like, I could charge them like a couple $100, which in the grand scheme of things, like most people video editing and doing the editing stuff can charge like $1,000. Yeah. I'm like, if I could charge these guys like $150-$250 to shoot and edit their video, they're like looking at that as a steal. So I'm like, well, I can line up like 5 people right away, try to make it make sense.
It's almost easier in your head. I know. Like, shit, this isn't really working out.
And I'm like, damn, dude. Then it's like almost like starting like a like you're starting like a production thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I want to necessarily, but it's like a cat and mouse chase, man. Always thinking of something with that. So
speaking of editing, I was going to ask you, do you still have the license to Adobe?
I do. You need it?
I don't know. How's that? I mean, well, we don't need to talk about this online, but I like this camera, the 360. I think the only video editing that does the 360 is either their own application or they have a plugin for Premiere. They don't have a plugin for Final Cut, which is frosting me to no end.
It's funny you say that.
That's the one thing that really rubs me the wrong way about this. But
yeah, I have I have both, but Final Cut Pro is by far my favorite video editing platform by a landslide. And I had this conversation with you and with Alan and with a number of people. And Alan was the one that kind of like really shook some sense into me. He's like, bro, like me and you used to use Final Cut Pro back in high school. He's like, why would you try to learn Premiere? He's like, you know, all those things where you're like trying to put in like a custom like color correction or do something. He's like, it might take you an extra 10 seconds to find that on Premiere, whereas like on Final Cut, he's like, you could do that instant. He's like, add up all the 10 seconds. He's like, but it's going to take you hours out of your life. You know, and I'm like, I get it, dude. I need to get Final Cut, so I finally got it like a month ago. Shot at the notebook sessions 2 weeks ago, and I've been like slowly editing. So after this, I'll show you some of the stuff we got on my hard drive. But yeah, I do have, to answer long-winded answer to say yes, I do have Premiere. I could try to get a plug-in to see if we could do the 360.
All right, cool.
Or I'll just give you the license. I think I got like, you could get like 3 computers on there, and I only have my laptop and my desktop on there.
All right, cool.
So you could be the third one.
Perfect.
But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, because did you buy it outright or did you? Because I think they're totally subscription.
It's subscription based.
God, that's so fucking annoying.
$50 a month, every 24th of every month.
Jesus Christ, $50, but you get the full. You get Photoshop and
full
everything,
suite. And actually, it's a little bit less. I think it's $40 because I use Hayden's
education.
Yeah. But yeah, it's for every single thing Adobe related I have access to.
No, well, I guess God, it's just everything's a subscription, man. It drives me batshit crazy because you know
it keeps me motivated because it's like I have stake in the game. So I'm like, all right, I have to do some cover arts or I have to do any other graphic.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you say that motivated because I mean it's kind of like the Peloton, right? I'm paying the subscription to the Peloton. And sure enough, it's that very fact that probably keeps me going, right? It's like, I'm paying for this goddamn thing. I gotta use it, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that I could see your point there, but oh man, I don't know.
I wonder how Peloton stock's doing because they.
All right, I don't want to jinx anything, but
everything's on firing on all cylinders here.
Like 57 minutes in, and that is still running the GoPro.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, we're getting close to winter time. Maybe
it's cold.
Yeah, maybe
it's definitely cold.
Maybe that's helping out.
That's running, and
this is running. I see the red light.
That's running.
Yeah.
Damn. Holy mackerel.
I forget what I was talking about, but nonetheless.
No, I'm sorry, I interrupted.
You're good. Oh, I was talking about Peloton because when I went to New York a couple years ago, it might have been with you. I don't remember, but Peloton had this massive freaking building in like New York. I was like, I wonder how their stock's doing because
not very good.
No, Nvidia's is skyrocketing right now. It went up to like 140 the other day, 139 or something like that. Yeah. I was looking at it, I was like, not enough to quit yet, but getting close.
The metrics of like the number of millionaires that are now working there is just.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy, man. Oh God, you know sometimes it just pays to be at the right place at the right time. Silicon Valley's built on that, man, and it's like, God damn, that's why everybody's driving around in Ferraris and shit.
I forget who said that. Your favorite, Mark Cuban, who said that because he was the one that kind of started the like early wave of. I forget, it was like a sports talk show, maybe or something.
He had broadcast.com or something like that.
Sports, right?
It was just video. It was kind of like an early YouTube sort of thing.
But again, right place, right time, was really good with it. And now he's like multi-billionaire. So, I feel like a lot of that stuff, I can't really speak to it because I'm not there yet.
All right.
Billion, right place, right time mixed with some luck.
This camera's going to die in a second because we're right about to hit an hour. So we want to just
wrap us up. Wrap us up here, man.
Well, this was a bunch of nothing, just us talking about ourselves that nobody cares. So thanks for hanging in there if you actually made a full hour listening to our life stories. But I'm actually kind of excited about this camera deal, and we'll see how this goes. I'll try and post it as a 360 video and rock out. So
sweet.
All right, cool. Peace out, man.
See you
Later.